When you first came to Leicestershire to live in Oadby, painting wasn't your main profession, was it? It was an absorbing hobby, is that right?
Yeah, that's quite right. I, in fact, at that time used to paint approximately 1 day a week, which was the 1 day a week that I had off.
And what was your job when you first came to live in Oadby?
Well, I came to Oadby to be minister of the Church of Christ on Rosemead Drive. That was in 1969.
And you were married at that stage?
Yes, we had one daughter, Gaynor, at that time.
One small daughter who is now 13, isn't she?
That's right.
And Andrew was born later, so you established your family life on Brox Hill in Oadby.
Yeah.
And how long were you in the Church of Christ?
Until 1978, so that it was a 9-year ministry.
And where had you lived and worked before you came to Oadby?
In Birmingham. It was in Birmingham that I was born and trained, both at Art College and Theological College. And my first ministry there for 7 years was at the Sparkhill Church in South Birmingham.
Yes. But in your school days you were already interested in art?
Oh yes, very much so. In fact, most of my time at school, quite a disproportionate amount of time was spent in the art room.
Yes. And which college did you decide to go to?
It was the Birmingham College of Arts and Crafts in Margaret Street. When I was at the Art College, I was there for 2 years. The first year was a general course, which included a bit of just about everything, including silversmithing and sculpture, painting and drawing, of course. And then the second year I was there was a year in which I did mainly graphic design. And had I remained at Art College right through the course, I think it's likely that I would have become a graphic designer.
It seems to me that now you're interested more in landscapes, but I suppose over the years you've tried different styles of painting.
Yes, that's true. At Art College one needs to be open to all the different influences which are brought to bear, both historically and of contemporary painters. And during the years I've been painting, I've tried most things, portraiture, abstracts, and I suppose one of the biggest influences on my painting is the French Impressionist school, and I still put them top of my list. But it's really landscapes and seascapes that have been the area in which I've felt myself most interested, and I think that probably shows in this exhibition.
A lot of the paintings in the exhibition that we're going to enjoy involve meticulous detail. Does that mean that you use a sketchbook before you start a painting, or do you use a camera? Are you interested in photography?
I am interested in photography, and I find that a photographic record is invaluable as a sort of background aid to painting, particularly if you're out somewhere and you've no time to stop and paint, but at least you can have a record which, combined with the memory of the experience, is tremendously valuable. But in this particular case, with the exhibition, just about every kind of resource has been used. My own photographs, other people's photographs, and particularly the photographs which have been collected by the local history group, all of which, together with visits to the spot and some painting and drawing on the spot, has helped me to build up each painting in turn. Did
you use source material from the libraries? Did you look at old newspapers, for example?
Not newspapers, but on several occasions I went in to look at the maps of Oadby at different stages during its history, which was particularly useful in the positioning of buildings and even things like trees and roads, and I found that quite invaluable.
Did you refer to elderly people in the community?
In a few instances I went on memories of what people had said. I can't remember a specific instance in which I went to anybody and said, do you remember what this was like? But certainly, if I was to add it all together, the amount of resource information which has come from different people, directly or indirectly, has been very considerable.
Geoff, where have you held previous exhibitions?
The first sole exhibition of my own work was held at the Beecham Community College earlier this year, and that was entitled Landscapes and Seascapes. Other than that, my work has been exhibited quite widely, in Cornwall, in various places in Leicester, and I suppose most regularly in the Oadby Society of Artists annual exhibition.
Yes, you joined that society, didn't you, early on?
In 1969, the same year that I came to Oadby.
Yes. The exhibition on the Oadby views that you've been planning for some months, I know, starts at the end of this week. How many paintings will there be?
There will be 25 paintings, and in addition to those there will be the 4 colour reproductions of 4 of the most popular scenes of Old Oadby.
Of the 25 paintings, are they all oil?
3 of them will be watercolours, and the rest are oils, yes.
So it is your favourite medium, is it? Oil
Yes.
painting?
Yes, very much so.
Had you thought of sketches?
Well, I did think about that, but space is limited, and it seemed to me best to concentrate on the full colour pictures.
I'm sure the exhibition will arouse a lot of interest. It already has done, really, hasn't it? Would you say something about the work that's been commissioned from Oadby people?
Yes. Well, one of the views which I suppose is likely to be a top favourite is the view of Tinker's Thatch,
Yes.
which of course was pulled down in 1969, and that was a sad loss of a landmark, but that was one painting which, as soon as I'd painted it, somebody wanted it.
Yes.
Another one is a contemporary view of an old property called Hilltop now, which used to be a farmhouse.
And is now lived in by Martin Sharp and
That's
his
right,
family.
yes.
Yes. I imagine you'll get more commissions made after the exhibition.
Well, I hope so. This is usually one of the things that happens as a result of an exhibition, and of course, I feel that I've only exhausted a small part of the scope of Old Oadby, and hope therefore to get more commissions.
Yes. You're holding a miniature painting there. Could you say something about it? It's St Peter's Church.
Yes, it's taken from a view of Oadby which is supposed to have come from the early 19th century in the form of a drawing, and it was included in a book about various beautiful places in Britain, and obviously Oadby was selected as one of those places. There were one or two inaccuracies, particularly in the way that the roof, the spire of the church had been drawn, and I took the liberty of correcting that. But it is very closely based on that drawing from the early 19th century.
It looks very Victorian, being a miniature. Is this a favourite medium as well?
It's something which I've been developing an interest in recently, and I find that as a contrast to painting on large canvases, that this is a rather demanding and exciting way of painting, and in fact I've decided therefore to put 4 miniatures in the exhibition.
A lot of the guests at the opening of your exhibition this week will recognise this painting with no difficulty. It's still much the same, isn't it?
It is.
Who is opening the exhibition for you?
It's to be opened by David Weston, who is of course a very well-known Leicestershire artist. I've known David for many years now, and I first met him when I used to buy framing from his father, and David at that time had a studio on Fairfax Road, and since then I've met him on many occasions, and very grateful to him for coming on this occasion.
Geoffrey. Ladies and gentlemen, Geoffrey has done me the honour of asking me to declare this exhibition open tonight. I don't quite know why, except for maybe as a fellow artist with an interest in recording things from the past, that he felt there was a kindred spirit there. I've known Geoffrey for a number of years. He came to Leicestershire 12 years ago, at about the time when I moved out to Kirby Bellers in the Leicestershire countryside from the city of Leicester. And since then I've come across his work and across Geoffrey on a number of occasions, but each time I've seen his work I've noticed that it has improved, and I think that's that's a great thing to be able to say. But on top of that, when I walked in here tonight, I thought, my goodness, it's improved a lot more, because the immediate impression on looking at these pictures was one of delight, surprise perhaps, I don't mean that rudely, but certainly delight. And for me, these pictures, I've had a sort of very brief look round, but for me these pictures have more than just a record of Oadby as it was. They have atmosphere, and that I think is the most important single factor that any painting should have. I've always said that atmosphere and lighting are the two most important things in a picture. Well, these pictures certainly contain atmosphere in abundance. I'd sort of marked one or two. I thought that the 1930s picture of the chestnut tree, which is round the back here, has a terrific sort of 1930s atmosphere, and he's even got the car right, which I'm sort of very keen about personally. But he's got the car right, and the fashions are right, and the whole scene is very 1930s and really super. The oldest house, picture number 4, which is again is round the back, I thought was beautifully painted. It's a very subtle picture, but I would recommend it to you to look carefully into, because the brickwork is absolutely super. He's got the bricks right for the period, and he's obviously done his research. And that, I think, you know, is obviously the crux of painting a series of pictures like this. It's not just a matter of sitting down at an easel with a few old photographs. You've got to delve into it very carefully. And I know this from painting railway engines, because believe me, if I get so much as one rivet wrong, there's somebody somewhere going to tell me about it. And the same applies whether it's buildings or railway engines, old cars or whatever, and particularly with buildings in a way, because so many people remember them. And indeed, someone here tonight was telling me about the picture there, that they live in the house and their business is just down the road. And I thought, well, she's going to know that picture inside out. He's obviously got it right because she's bought it. So it's obviously right. Geoff, I think you deserve to sell every picture in this room, because it really is a lovely exhibition. And I think, to Geoff's credit, that when you've looked round these pictures, and there's only surprisingly 25, you feel as if you've seen a lot more. And I think that's a tremendous compliment to the artist. I don't want to go on too long, but just to mention one or two. Fludes Lane, which is here. Lovely picture. Very soft rural scene. It makes me wonder what Fludes Lane is like today. I have no idea, but it's not very nice, you say. But there it is in all its glory, and it's a lovely picture that. Totally different to the sort of bricks and mortar, but it shows that Geoff is versatile in as much as he can turn his hand to trees and hedgerow and field and do it equally well. I had to mark the London Road St Peter's Church picture, and also Brox Hill, which is just round the corner again. They all seem to be round the back, these pictures. But Brox Hill, because again it's a lovely rural scene, and I thought his light and his delicacy of touch on that. There's some badgers looking at us. It's called the original inhabitants, 18th century. And I thought that he caught that beautifully. It's a lovely picture. And somebody really must buy that tonight. Geoffrey, you've done a marvellous exhibition of paintings. I congratulate you. I'm sure everyone in this room congratulates you on it. And it gives me very great pleasure to declare the exhibition open.
Well, it's been a bit hectic for you. Have you managed to enjoy it, Geoff?
Yes, in spite of all the pressure beforehand and all the busyness of this evening, I certainly have enjoyed it very much indeed. Thank
Good.
you. Yeah.
And what about people's reactions? What have people been saying to you?
Well, it's been a mixture of reactions in the sense that some people have commented on the particular places. Lots of people have said that they enjoy the paintings themselves, and they like the style of painting, which of course is pleasing from my point of view, and generally the reaction has been very favourable indeed.
And can I ask a commercial question? Can you tell yet, have you sold many of the paintings?
Yes, I've sold several, and one or two commissions have already come out of the exhibition, so I'm pleased in that sense as well.
Lovely. Congratulations. I think it's been very successful for you.
Thank you.